Hello everybody, welcome to Speed Force Media. My name is Derek, and today we are talking about James Gunn. He has officially announced that he is directing Superman Legacy. We all knew that this was a possible scenario, and I do think that overall, it's a good move. He wouldn't necessarily be the first choice in my mind when I think of Superman directors, but he is a good director, and if you take away everything he's done except for the comic book properties, even movies like Slither and all the other stuff, just Marvel and DC, everything he has done has been critically a smash hit, even his holiday specials. And although myself, I'm not a big fan of everything he's done, some of his humor's not always with my personal preference. But if you look at the MCU, if you look at the DCEU, not every director was good, right? And not every film has been good. And I'm sure in the DCU moving forward, not every DCU director will be good, which is why it's a good thing that a good director is attached to this particular film, because Superman Legacy has so much writing on it. Not only is it Superman coming back to the theaters, not necessarily the version of Superman some of us were hoping for, but it is still Superman. If you are a Superman fan and you've liked other Supermans in the past, you can at least acknowledge that there's always been a shed of doubt going into the next Superman movie. There was people doubting Henry Cavill. I myself was one of them going into Man of Steel, and I was greatly proven wrong. There was a lot of people doubting Brandon Routh, and some people would say proven wrong. And I'm sure a lot of people probably said that about Christopher Reeve and George Reeves before him. So whether or not you're a fan of James Gunn or not, I hope you can at least somewhat be excited that Superman is coming back. This movie is happening. No last-minute reshoots, no reactionary recuts where you bring in a trailer company to recut your movie and do a complete tonal shift away from the direction of the previous directors. You're not going to have multiple different cuts that are completely different from each other that some people hate, some people love. You're not going to have a split DC fandom as much as it has been over the years. It still will have, obviously, some hits and some misses and some divisiveness. Of course, there's always going to be that. But going forward, you're not going to have executives coming in and stepping into these films and tinkering with the writers and directors of this Superman Legacy project, because the people running this studio are the people producing, writing, and directing. And whether or not they have maybe too much power, that's certainly up to debate. And we will see moving forward if this movie sucks, right? That's a total possibility here. But if this movie needs more time to fix special effects or rework some CGI, it's not going to be pushed out before those things are done just so an executive can get the bonus. The filmmakers will be the executives, at least for this particular film. And I think that is a great thing, especially for this project in particular, because even myself, who I've liked most things James Gunn's done, I've loved a few, I've disliked a couple. Even myself, I'm worried about this project to a certain degree, but mostly excited because it's Superman. But if this movie is divisive like Man of Steel, a movie I love, if this movie's divisive or even hated to some degrees like other Superman films before Man of Steel and after Man of Steel, well, not Superman movies, but other DCEU movies that have came after Man of Steel, if it's just another divisive movie, then the future of the DCU and James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC Studios is not off to a great start, because this film has literally the DCU weighing on its shoulders, and who better to hold it up than Superman? But if it's not good, then we're going to start questioning whether or not this film is going to get a sequel, if they're going to do another just hard reboot instead of maybe continuing certain things that have worked before in their eyes. And we're going to question whether or not we're going to see a Justice League, or if there's even going to still be a shared cinematic universe. And if not, if people just don't care because they don't get immediately attached to this version of Superman, then maybe they'll just go forward with some standalone projects like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, your DC Elseworlds. If this film sucks, and some of the early DCU projects sucked, the fandom doubt, stress, uncertainty, maybe even some anxiety, will continue. There's definitely a lot of excitement, don't get me wrong, and I certainly am one of them, the people that's excited for the future of the DCU and this project. But I do worry just because I'm sure that there are a lot of people that are really rooting against this film because it's not Henry Cavill, and, you know, I love Henry Cavill, but if this Superman Legacy film is not good, then it may impact other films down the road in the DCU that haven't been announced yet. Films maybe like a Flash movie with a new star in the role. Maybe a Shazam sequel or an Aquaman sequel, Wonder Woman sequel. Maybe they'll look, or worse, they'll shelve Superman again, or maybe just have him in a reoccurring role in the next Justice League film. So that is my biggest concern really with this whole thing. But the fact that you got James Gunn attached, who, if you look at both Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, second one wasn't as good as the first. If you look at the Suicide Squad, if you look at Peacemaker, critics loved all of them. They were all financial successes except for the Suicide Squad, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the quality of that film. Then I think Superman Legacy is in really, really good hands. And like I said, he wasn't my number one choice, but I do think it is still a great choice because he just puts out nothing but bangers for comic book fans. And I think a lot of people are going to be on board with this. Like I said, my only stress, my only concern is just, can they still deliver? You look at other directors who stay in the comic book properties too long, sometimes they eventually run out of creative ideas. And I don't think James Gunn, from a studio standpoint, could run out of creative ideas, but from a director standpoint, especially while running a studio, you know, this could be his first film directing while co-running a studio, a film studio. So that does, you know, those are minor concerns. But man, if it's to the same quality as the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, even though I didn't love all of the humor in some of those, I still thought they were hilarious at times. And I'm sure a lot of people are worried that they're going to throw that kind of humor into Superman Legacy. I think James Gunn would be crazy not to add humor into the film, but that kind of humor, I don't think you have anything to worry about. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Superman Legacy? Are you excited now even more that James Gunn is directing, or are you genuinely not interested in a James Gunn directed Superman movie and his vision? Because like I said before, he is the studio. His vision is going to be untouched unless it's David Zaslav that steps in, or maybe Peter Safran's like, hey man, maybe don't have Superman, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you think, let us know in the comments below. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Till next time, have a great day.